You also got to induct Bill Watts.
Mhm.
I know that we talk about him a lot here on the show and what a big influence he was on your life and your career. It was pretty cool to see you be the guy to get to induct him, knowing how important he was in your career. Was this a big deal for Bill? Was he excited about the opportunity, or is he over all this and just another day at the
I
office?
think he was a half-ass overall of it, Connie. Nice payday comes along, nice honorarium comes along with that induction. Used to be $5,000. I don't know what it was in that time. Probably somewhere in that neighborhood. I think that I don't want to be overly negative, but I'd also be remiss to say that Cowboy probably thought that the 5 grand was the best part of the Hall of Fame. Uh, the cash. All those old school guys look at the payday, how much they're getting paid, and I know when I went in with Lawler, we didn't even talk about how much money we're getting because it wasn't that important. It wasn't the money. It wasn't life changing money.
Right.
But it was nice money,
Sure.
nice day, good beer money, so to speak.
Get Jan a nice purse.
Yeah, that's about it, man.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but I was very happy with Cowboy getting recognized, obviously because of his how much help he gave me as a mentor and a friend. So it's pretty cool stuff. This is the hell of a Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, we're not done either. We get Ricky Steamboat being inducted by Ric Flair. Who better than the Nature Boy to induct Ricky Steamboat? Of course, Nate was inducted the year prior, and of course, this is one day before what we all thought would be Ricky Steamboat's last match and a WrestleMania match to boot. And then lastly, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's our headliner. He's going to get inducted by Vince McMahon. And I couldn't help but wonder when I'm thinking about this Hall of Fame back, had Bill Watts not been in this class, I think you could have been the guy to induct Austin, but I'm sure Vince was excited to do it. How do you think Stone Cold felt about going into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm sure Steve was happy that the boss was going to induct him, but he'd have been happy if I had done it because our relationship was a lot closer than Steve and Vince's relationship. But Vince, hey, look, to cut to the chase here, Vince wanted to get that rub and be in a position to, you know, exhale, flex his muscles, so to speak. So I think for Vince's ego, that was as much about that as anything else. But certainly, the head of WWE and this operation inducting Austin was not a bad thing at all. But egocentrically, I would have loved to have done it.
It's a big moment because we never saw Vince do this. And I know James Dudley was inducted by Vince way back when, but when the Hall of Fame really became the thing it is now, and it was in '09, Vince not only never inducted anyone, he would instruct people, don't mention me in your speech.
Yeah.
He didn't want people thanking him or talking about him. So for him to come out and induct Stone Cold, and I mean, listen, why not? Stone Cold is the reason Vince went from being a millionaire to becoming a billionaire. And my goodness, it was a cool moment for Stone Cold to take his rightful place.
Yeah, it fit. It made sense. You know, your head man recognizing your top talent, and so it fit real well. I'm just saying I would like to have done it, not because Vince didn't do a good job, but because my ego says that, you know, JR, you and Austin are very close, closer than anybody else on the roster. You should be the guy inducting him. That's one school of thought, but it just wasn't meant to be on that night. You know, I was very happy to induct Cowboy Bill Watts, but I might have been more happy to induct Stone Cold Steve Austin. Be that as it may, it all got pulled off fine.
And of course, this is a television show. I know that irks a lot of folks, but I mean, that's what it was in this era. So because of that, we're giving people time limits. And you sort of mentioned you wish that Dusty had more time. Well, in the days ahead of the show, each inductee was going to get 10 minutes, and that was cut to 5 minutes. and the presenters were given 3 minutes, and they even ran a clock on the big screen so the crowd who was there in the arena knew, hey, they're moving this thing along. And the day before the show, a lot of the Hall of Fame class gets together with the WWE writing team. That's right. We got guys like Terry Funk and Bill Watts and Stone Cold, and they're working with WWE scriptwriters. And Meltzer would say Watts appeared to be the only person who chucked his script and ignored the time cues. Even though he was easily the least known to the live crowd there, his speech ended up as a highlight of the show, past the recognition pops for people like Austin, McMahon, Flair, and Steamboat. And Meltzer would say he thinks a lot of this is because the WWE writers were trying to shoehorn in references for WrestleMania. They were just used to writing television promoting the next PLE, and that's what they were doing here for the talent going in the Hall of Fame. Shout out to your man Bill for just saying, screw all that. I'm going to say what I want. What are they going to do?
What are they going to do? Fire me?
Yeah.
He's going to get paid. He's got some TV time. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Conrad. Cowboy came through. You know, Cowboy was a great promo guy back in his wrestling days, and which is evidenced by his performance at the Hall of Fame there in Houston. So he delivered the goods, as we all believed that he would.
Let's also mention that the buys are going to come in for WrestleMania, and boy, it is a monster show. 960,000 buys for WrestleMania 25 here. It is down a little bit from WrestleMania 24, but again, as a reminder, that was Flair's retirement match, and we had Floyd Mayweather, which even if you're just a wrestling fan and not a boxing fan, you at least know Floyd is a pay-per-view juggernaut.
Yep.
WrestleMania 24 did 1,024,000 buys. So we're down about 64,000 buys, but overall, pretty damn strong. Let's talk about some of the matches here. We got Carlito and Primo Colon. They're the tag team champions, and they're going to beat Miz and Morrison. They're the world tag team champions. So we've got unified champs now with Carlito and Primo. They go 8 minutes and 20 seconds. This was moved the day of the show to being a dark match that was taped for DVD. And on the pay-per-view, they never even acknowledged the match had happened. And I found that interesting because it was promoted like it was going to be a pay-per-view match on the show. And then instead it wound up being on the DVD. I guess we're trying to get the DVD sold, and that's a nice little strategy. But if I was a talent, I think I might be disappointed in that.
Yeah, it's not going to affect the thing about that. It's not going to affect their pay.
Right.
Going from a pay-per-view match to what we had, the money's not going to change. They're going to get paid commensurate with if that's the right word of if they had worked the pay-per-view. So it didn't affect their pocketbook. It didn't affect their wallet. But egocentrically, you're either on the card or you're not. They were not on the card in that context. So it almost became a throwaway.
Let's also mention that there's a lot of lumberjacks involved in this match. I assume this is to just get guys WrestleMania payoffs.
That's
guys
it.
Like Great Khali, Crime Time, Jamie Noble, Charlie Haas, Hurricane Helms, Gold Dust, Jimmy Wang Yang, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, William Regal, Paul Burchill, Tommy Dreamer, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, Brian Kendrick, Ezekiel Jackson, Mike Knox, Vladimir Kozlov, Kurt Hawkins, and Zack Ryder. I mean, they're all on the show, kind of. But this, to use one of your old phrases, probably felt like kissing your sister.
Yeah, it was just a way to get some guys a payday. You hit it nail on the head. There's no secret why that was that way. And that's why you look back at WrestleManias over the last several years, you'll find more than one instance as a rule of guys that are on the card that really you scratch your head and wonder why. Well, the why is they work all year. They bust their ass. A lot of those guys are major fans. So being on WrestleMania as a participant in any form was important to them. So, but that's the reason for the Battle Royal, because it meant nothing. It meant absolutely nothing. And that's no disrespect to those talents that you named and you mentioned. because some hellacious workers and performers in that group. But as far as adding to the card, or maybe a point on Meltzer's ratings and so forth, I don't know. Arguably, if so, not much. But it got guys some work, and it got guys a payday.
So Taz is out. Unbelievably, he says adios, and he's not on this WrestleMania call. So it's going to be a 3-man team here with yourself, Jerry Lawler, and Michael Cole all sitting at one table. Todd Grisham and Matt Stryker are going to be used to call the tag title match on the DVD. Man, this is a fun booth. You know, Jim Ross, Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, sort of the aces of WWE commentary for decades.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that we all three got the opportunity to work. It was different. It was a unique scenario, and it was pretty cool shit.